All right, Shalom, all praises due to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakah, Quadash, double honors to the apostles of GMS, and Shalom to you brothers that's pushing the truth and sincerity. I'm Karata Zakbar, back on another show. And this show, I'm going to be focusing on the Jew and the Greek, all right, or the Jew and the Gentile that's mentioned about in the New Testament, okay? And we're going to go into how both the Jew and the Greek are both Israelites, all right? Because, you have the majority of the world believe that the Most High is going to save all nations. And they will go to scriptures where it speaks about the Jew and the Greek, or the Jew and the Gentile. And, people believe that the Greek and the Gentile are talking about other nations outside of Israel, but that's not so. All right. And mainly these Christians teach that. But when you search the scriptures, both the Jew and the Greek are both Israelites. All right. Still talking about the same nation of people, not no other nation. But we're going to get right into the scriptures. So let's read Galatians chapter 3, verse 28. And it reads, "There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. For ye are all one in Hamashiach, Yahushua Hamashiach." All right. Now, somebody would read this and try to justify all nations can be saved because it says neither Jew nor Greek. Okay. And especially a Christian. But let's look up what that word for Greek in the Greek. Let's see what that word is. So the word for Greek is
Strong's G 1672, Hellene. Hellene.
all right. So the word is Helen. Let's read. It says a Greek either by nationality, whether a native of the mainland or of the Greek islands or colonies. In a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. The primary reference is to a difference of religion and worship. Yeah, that's right. So the Greek word Helen, when you read the definition, yeah, it can apply to it can apply to the other nations outside of Israel. But what Israel fall into this aspect also? All right? Because during the time of the Greeks conquered that known region, and they Hellenized the heathen nations in that region. Okay, so all nations had to follow the Greek way and the Greek customs. But what Israel was Hellenized also. Okay, so let's get in the Maccabees real quick. Let's go to First Maccabees, chapter 1, because this is the history on how Israel became part of that Helen. First Maccabees, chapter 1. Let's jump all the way down to Okay, let's start from verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. Right, so this king is King Antiochus, the fourth Epiphanes. Okay, so it reads, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one, and every one should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. Yeah, that's right. So under King Antiochus, what? All nations were to be one, which was that Helen, okay, or being Hellenized. So those nations, those no known regions had to follow the Greek way and the Greek customs. Okay, and it reads, when you read verse 43, it says, "Yea, many also of the Israelites consent to his religion and sacrifice unto idols and profane the Sabbath." So Israelites also became one under the Greek customs also. Okay, when you go into the history, which is written about in the Maccabees. So you had, but when you go through the history, you had some Israelites who didn't want to consent to those customs, and that's why you have like Judas Maccabees and the men who fought against the Greeks, okay, and didn't want to take part. But you had a lot of Israelites who converted into being Greeks, all right, and put off their laws and worship the Greek customs. But let's read on. Verse 44. For the king had sent letter by message into Jerusalem and the cities of in the city of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, and that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their soul abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. All right, profanation. So that's what happened under the commandment of Antiochus. What Israel was to leave off their customs and follow the ways of the Greeks, all right, and follow the Greek laws and the Greek customs and worship the Greek gods, okay, as well as the other nations who were Hellenized. Israel was Hellenized also. So fast forward into the New Testament, where it speaks about the Jew and the Greek, and it speaks about the Hellen, and it goes into how what the nations fall under that Hellen, but that the Jew and the Greek is focusing on the Israelites that were Hellenized, not the other nations. All right. So let's go back and read Galatians 3:28 again. It says, "There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Hamashiach Yahushua." Right. So it says Jew or Greek. So that Greek there, which is Helen, but that Helen is talking about the Israelites who did not know that they were Israelites. Why? Because going back in the history of the time of the Greeks Hellenized Israel as well as the other nations. So these Greeks were Israelites that lost their way, all right, that did not know that they were Israelites, okay? But then you had some Israelites who were Greeks, but they knew about their customs. They knew about themselves being Israelites. They knew that their lineage goes back to what? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But they were Greeks in citizenship, okay? So let's get an example of that in Acts chapter. Let's read Acts chapter 6. Let's read Acts 6 and 1. And in those days, where the number of the disciples were multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, because the widows were neglected in the daily ministry. Yeah, and the widows being neglected in the daily ministry, talking about the service of food, all right? Well, let's look up that word, Grecian.
Strong's G 1675. Hellenistes. Hellenistes.
Yeah, Hellenistes. It says a Hellenist, one who imitates the manner and customs or the worship of Greeks and use the Greek tongue. Used in the New Testament of Jews born in foreign lands speaking Greek. Yeah, so that's what a Hellenist is, a Greek-speaking Jew, okay? Because you had Jews who came from the Greek customs or Greek background, but what? They knew they were Jews, all right? But then you had the Jews who did not know about them being Israelites going, and that's referring to the Hellen, all right? Or the Greek or the Gentile being saved. So it speaks about the Greek and the Gentile receiving salvation or being saved in the Lord. That's talking about those Israelites who are in a Gentile state of mind. So from there, let's get let's get find the scripture. Let's get John 7 and 35. And it reads, Then said the Jews amongst themselves, Whither will he go, that we should not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? Yeah, so these were the Jews asking, where will Yahushua go? Will he go to the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? Because this is now this here is a distinguish between these two different Gentiles. All right. So first we got to look up the word dispersed.
Strong's G 1290. Diaspora. Diaspora.
That's right. So the dispersed is the diaspora. And it reads a scattering, dispersion of Israelites dispersed among foreign nations. Yeah, that's right. So you had Israelites that was dispersed among foreign nations. Okay? This is of Christians scattered abroad among the Gentiles. So the Christians are Israelites. So let's hold that. Let's get James 1. James 1:1 says, James, a servant of God and the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. Yeah, so the message is to the 12 tribes that were scattered. All right? And the word for scattered in the Greek is the same word for dispersed that you read in John 7:35, which is talking about the Israelites that were scattered throughout foreign nations. So let's go back to John 35. So the Greek word for Gentile should be the same Helen for that you would read in where it speaks about the Jew and the Greek. All right, which is the Helen. So let's read it again. So it reads John 7:35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles? Yeah, that's right. So will he go to the dispersed among the Gentiles, or those scattered Israelites that are among the Gentiles, or the scattered Israelites that are among those heathen nations, and teach the Gentiles? Meaning teach those what? Israelites that were scattered. Okay? And teach those Israelites that lost their way. Those Israelites that didn't know that they were Israelites. Okay? That's why it distinguished between these two Gentiles. Because these Gentiles are not the same. You have the Gentiles, the dispersed among the Gentiles, the Israelites that are among those heathens, and teach those Israelite foreigners. Okay? That's what the scripture is saying here. So it's showing you that what? Israelites became Gentiles. Okay? That's why it speaks about in 1 Corinthians 12 that how ye know ye were Gentiles following after those idols. Okay? Because Israel were in a Gentile state of mind. And we went into the history in 1 Maccabees, first chapter, how under the commandments of the Greeks, that what? We had to follow the Greek customs and we had to put off serving, keeping the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. So Israel lost their way, but not completely, because you had what? Some Jews who were so-called Greeks, but they knew that they were Israelites. All right, but then you had the ones who didn't know that they were Israelites, but what? They were still Jews, just as well as the ones that did know. And they both had to come, what? They both had to learn of Yahushua and be brought back into the fold by what? Believing in the Lord. All right. So the Jew and the Greek, or the Jew and the Gentile, they are both Israelites. No nation outside of being an Israelite. Okay. So the Most High, Yahushua, the Most High sent his son, Yahushua, only to save what? His people, only to save the Israelites, or the lost Israelites that didn't know their way. Okay? And not no other nation outside of the nation of Israel. So, with that, hope you brothers learned something. And I'm going to say all praises due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash, double honors to the apostles of GMS, and Shalom to the elect. Shalom.